Okay, I want to talk about the power of music in times of trouble. But this is going to require a little bit of a backstory, so indulge me for a second, please. Okay, back in 2010, I became what they label as depressed, and I didn't know what it was, but I was having like this existential crisis, so to speak, in which I was very misaligned with my purpose and who I'm here to be, right? So I was hanging out with people for the sake of having friends who were negatively impacting my own energy and aura. And I wasn't aware of it. Um, but I was having this battle, which introduced me into a very depressed period of time during which I questioned the purpose behind the things that we celebrate. I remember listening to music and going like, what's the purpose of music? I remember watching an award show and seeing people accept awards, and I'm like, this is all purposeless. Like, what does this have to do with anything? And so in this time, I was questioning, like many of you, anti-arts people, anti-liberal arts people, anti-critical thinking, anti-college education people. And I was an educated person by then. I had my college degree and everything. But I was just wondering why all this stuff, this frivolous stuff, mattered. This was an extremely depressed time in my life that I did not recognize, because the questioning that was taking place was because I didn't have hope. I didn't have that little glimmer of hope. All I saw was the negativity that I had embedded myself into, but also that was around me. Because I was a teacher, and so I was struggling financially. I was raising two boys by myself, and one of them was a lot of trouble, a lot of trouble, just in different ways, right? And so I was also locked in the drudgery of life: work, home, football for my kids, cook for them, repeat, right? So I was locked in the drudgery of life. I didn't have anything I really participated in, nothing, right? And this, again, is like so many of you. You are locked in this cycle of work and the pushing of a block, a boulder up a mountain, where it seems like you're just not going to get ahead, because every step you take, you come back down, because you're not allowed to rest. Like, imagine that. This is Sisyphus. This is a mythology, right? So imagine you pushing a boulder that's heavier than you up a mountain. You get a few paces ahead, but you're not allowed to rest, because if you don't rest, that boulder comes back down and you have to start all over again. You have to start all over again. And that's where so many of us are, right? And I think the pandemic kind of exposed that. Like, you can't stop working. You can't stop hustling. You can't stop grinding. Because if you do, you have to face all the shit in your closet. You have to face all the shit under your carpet that you swept under there. It wasn't just we got shut in. It was that we were stuck with ourselves, right? Now, a lot of us introverts loved it until we also realize, oh, we have some shadows and stuff too. And this is why, like, on TikTok, one of the highest selling books, by the way, was a shadow journal, because in this time of shutdown, it was also a time of reflection. All right, so how did I get out of my depression period? I started doing stuff. I started challenging myself to enjoy life. In fact, in 2011, until I got sat down by a car accident, I challenged myself to do something different every single day. I gave blood. I had signed up to help Habitats for Humanities. I did something else. I went and got my nose pierced. I knocked the earring out that same day, y'all. But me, scared of needles, scared of pain, got my nose pierced, right? So, in that challenge was, I had to change me. I had to change my focus. So now let's get into why the arts are important, why liberal arts and education and music are important. It is because it gets us outside of ourselves and within ourselves. We have to understand why we believe the things that we believe, And why is this new thing that I'm hearing causing me to be triggered? Is it unlocking the truth behind a belief that I have? Is it reinforcing the truth of a belief that I have? Or is it causing me to question the beliefs that I have, right? So, let's bring this forward, right? And the reason this is coming up is because I was in a conversation with someone earlier today on the negative platform, Book of Face. Because I swear, there's all that's there is like negativity, man. Like, I really realized that now that I stepped out of the comfort of that place. I was like, yo, no wonder I was depressed. By the way, that is part of it. Is like their algorithm keeps you in your cycle of whatever it was. And so it kept me seeing stupid posts like, they'll support somebody else, but they won't support you. You know, like that kind of stuff that y'all are still sharing, by the way. Not here. Over there and on the other Meta platform. But anyway, so it required me to get out of myself. So in having this conversation with this person, they're like, okay, Beyonce had a revolutionary Super Bowl. Nothing happened. You went to her concert. Kendrick Lamar just had a revolutionary Super Bowl. Nothing's going to happen. What's going to happen? Like, why is this even important? And I had to check, and I don't mean check her, but I had to check her for a second, like, do you understand? They're doing their part. Y'all, we're still talking about the freaking Super Bowl 2 days later, and we'll continue to talk about it. And likely when we get out of this bull crap, it will become a masterclass, like for real. Like, I know I say that as like, oh my God, it's a masterclass, but it really was a masterclass in revolutionary discourse, right? Every single part of it, from the visual to the lyrics to the music, every single part of it was intentional. So that said, she's like, when is somebody going to do something? I'm like, but that somebody's you. Like, literally, y'all, music has the ability to get through the hypnosis of life, right? When we're sad, when we're angry, when we're happy, we play music. Music has the ability to transport you to another time in life. Most people, this is some kind of study, but most people tend to gravitate towards the period of music during which they were adolescents. They were teenagers. I love the 90s. There is no better musical time. And that's when I was a teenager, okay? And I grew up on everything, right? Every time period of music, because I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. So music is the Pied Piper. It gets to awaken you to your own emotions, your own feeling, and sometimes it gets to tickle your calling. It gets to go, hey, do you hear this? Do you see this? Right? It's not just music that does that. It's books. Books also do that. Why do you think they're banning books? And they're banning the books that ask you to think about your life and what you've been told. To Kill a Mockingbird. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Diary of Anne Frank. Y'all, these are all historical time periods because that's what an author is charged to do. Yes, y'all are writing fae and vampire and stuff like that, which really aren't a reflection of time period. But there's a person that, you know, people have come to dislike because of her personal discourse. But even within her books, the Harry Potter series, she looked at World War II. She looked at pure blood and whatnot. And by the way, I hear people talking about that to say they're anti-vax. We're pure blood. Oh my God, why are we using the same words? Right? So that is the job of the artist, the musician, the visual artist, the writer. It is the job of people to spark change, challenge, and revolution. It has a purpose. It has a very good purpose. Do people use it for wrong? Of course. Because nobody needs to know that your booty hole is brown. Nobody does. However, it's always been used. From the Negro spirituals to Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, it's always about change, challenge, and revolution. There's a purpose to it. What's yours?